myself, and then I'll have everybody say who you are and where you teach. So my name is Carrie Kyser. Most of you guys know me. I'm one of our instructional designers in e-learning services. My counterpart is Angela Meek. Many of you may work with her as well. She's our other instructional designer. And then our director is Dawn Westbrook. So today we're going to be looking at Snagit. We're going to be looking today at video capturing. So last week we talked about the screen capturing part where it's the still images. Today we're going to be looking at the video captioning or video capturing stuff. And we will talk a little bit about captioning as well. Before we do that, let's go around and just say your names and where you teach at the college, just so everybody knows. Amanda, I'm going to call on you first.
I'm Amanda Van Lannen. I teach in social sciences.
Perfect. Let's do another social sciences. Corinza.
I'm Corinza Allison, and I also teach in social sciences.
Great. Teresa.
I'm Teresa Carmack, and I teach in teacher education.
And Royal, are you really there? He might be doing something while he's doing this, so he may not be. Royal toys with us too. He teaches in our teacher ed. And then we've got two people here in the room. We've got Marlo, if you want to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Marla in English and CTL.
And we've got Christina.
Christina Brando Supis, teacher ed.
Perfect. And Julie McGelkey's joining us right now as well. She's in teacher ed as well. See if she gets signed in there and connected. Pause for just a second. Okay, so we are gonna just jump right in. Marlo, are you recording? Okay. And we've also got Ben Morton, who's in our humanities area, joining us now. So, Julie, do you want to say hi real quick and introduce yourself and where you teach?
Me, right, Ben?
Yep, Ben.
Yep, Ben Morton. I'm in communication arts.
Perfect. And Julie, do you want to say hi and introduce yourself as well? I think you're muted right now.
I'm Julie McGilkey, and I'm from the Division of Education and Mathematics.
Great, thank you. Okay, so today we are going to talk about Snagit and how we can use it to create videos. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to minimize you guys down off my screen. I'm working on my laptop, so I've got limited real estate. So I just want to make sure that I've got my space there, and I'm doing my screen share, so we've got that going too. Okay, so we talked last week about our capturing here in Snagit. We looked at images side last time, right? So today we're going to actually look here at the video side. I'm going to try to pull this down. My window for my Zoom and my capture window here are wanting to compete for space, but we're good. Okay, so on our tools for Snagit, we talked last time again about the images there, but the tab over here on the left where it goes to the video is the one we're going to be looking at today. So before we jump into how this can work and stuff, let's take a look at everything that's offered in this toolbar. So on the windows, you've got the area where you can do your region, and that'll just let you know where you want to record on your screen. You also still have it where when you hit capture, it'll kind of give you those images. I'm going to pull up actually behind here just the LCSE homepage as a sample. So we have something on the screen that looks good for recording. Okay, so if you're on here, if you do, you can have it set to region, but you can also, once you hit capture, notice that it gives you regions on your screen, or you can click and drag if you have a specific area. Okay, now I'm showing this today on a Mac computer, so the bars and stuff may look just a little different than on a Windows machine, but it should be fairly similar. You also on this video tab have the ability to automatically share it somewhere. So if every time you're doing a recording, you're wanting to share it to YouTube, you could have it automatically go there. I don't like to have it automatically share because most of the time I got to edit something out of there, right? Like me at the beginning, fumbling, getting the video up or whatever. So I don't have this set to automatically share. I leave that as to none. Record webcam, we're going to talk about that now in the Snagit 22, so the newest version of Snagit. There's a few more options with your webcam, and I'm going to go ahead and demo those too here. So I'm going to leave my record your webcam on for now. You'll notice if I hit that little over arrow, I can actually kind of picture what it's going to look like. So then I can be like, okay, yeah, well, I don't want my glasses on my head, you know, get yourself already there. And then Snagit will actually do picture in picture. So you could have your, I call it a talking head. You know, like when you have your PowerPoint up and then you've got your little image there, you can tell it to put you, say, bottom left, bottom right. Or if you really are using this to talk to your students and create a video, you can do the full screen webcam. On a side note, I used to not be very, I didn't like the talking heads. When I would see a PowerPoint and there was the little box with the person, that used to really bother me. And I'm still not a total fan of it, but there has been a lot of research over the last year with more and more remote learning that students actually really appreciate having the instructor's face there. So if you're comfortable with doing that, it is something that I would recommend trying. And I'll show you some features of that once we get into that. Again, we'll have these, just kind of going back to what we have set up in our recording. Preview and editor, I always have that on so that when I stop my video, it automatically opens me up into Snagit editor. Capture your cursor. I always want my cursor, they're just talking about what you see on the mouse captured, mostly because most of my videos are demonstrations of where to click, where to go. But if you were maybe just showing like images or something and you didn't want that distraction of the cursor, you could tell it to stop that. Record your microphone. That's just what it sounds like. Record your audio. And then you can, there's a little area there where then you can select which microphone if you're using several. Like right now I have both my laptop and I'm connected to the OWL here in the CTL. So I've got some options. The record system audio, that's only really needed if you're recording something that you're playing on your screen. So let's say I'm capturing a video that I'm playing back from the web, and I want the sound that's on my computer to record into the video. Then you would want your record system audio turned on. Again, you can create shortcuts for certain things. We talked about that last time. You can have your shortcut set up to do your capture so that you're not having to, every time you want to do a video or a screen capture, you're not having to come to the Snagit editor or the Snagit capture tool and hit capture and then select your area. You can actually select yourself a preset. So let's look at what you get when you're going to be doing a video capture. And then we'll look at how to record like with your webcam and also how to make little GIF files too. I say GIF, I know some people say GIF, some people say GIF, I say GIF. So you can go out online, there's millions of arguments to either side of that, but just so you know I'm aware of the argument, but I choose and say GIF. So let's start with just what happens when you do a video capture. So I'm going to go ahead and click this capture. Again, I could use my shortcut key there as well. I'm going to hit capture. Notice it's similar to when we do a screen capture, you know, for just a picture, where you can select that full screen or you could select just the area of the browser. I'm going to go ahead and just select this area here of the browser. And you'll notice once I do that, then this toolbar pops up. Okay, this is where it's a universal symbol for record, right? The red with the circle. This is the symbol saying that I have my webcam turned on. Do you see me down there in that bottom left? Notice if I click that little down arrow next to it, I can change where it's going. I can also change the shape. So I could have myself be a rounded rectangle if I would like. You guys see where that's changing there? A rounded square. We'll go with a rounded square. It kind of looks like a little app icon on my phone. Okay. This right here, if you're recording yourself talking on your screen capture, always make sure that little bar is moving when you talk. I don't know how many times I've had faculty in my office using our workroom computer and they've recorded something and never turned on the microphone. And then you have to go back and do it again. So always make sure that you see that there. This is the system audio recording. I don't need my system audio recording today. And actually, I don't really want it to be, since I'm doing the Zoom and then this and stuff. I don't want that over audio. So I'm going to leave that off. So from here, if I'm ready to record me demonstrating something on this page, I go ahead and I hit this record, and you'll notice it's going to count down. And then it goes. So we're now recording, right? So you can then go through, and let's say you were going to demo how to get to Canvas from the home page. You're going to go here, go to Canvas, and then you're at Canvas. So I'm done recording. That was my little video. So I'm going to come up here and I'm going to hit stop. Now I will say it's nice if you're on, most of us in our offices have it set up. I'm on a laptop right now, but we'll have it set up with 2 screens. And I always do find it nice to have what I'm recording on one screen and then my toolbar and stuff over on the other screen. So once I hit stop, it jumped me into the editor right here. And you'll notice, so when we were doing editing screen captures that were just the picture, I'm going to click on one of those real quick and you can see the difference. When we're on one of those, we have all of these, different tools and stuff where we can annotate that. Now, Snagit does not have all those features for editing videos. So their video editing is pretty much just doing, cuts, cutting out stuff. You can't actually annotate on top of it. If that is something you're wanting to do, we do have a software called Camtasia, which is Snagit's big brother. And it is available on our workroom computer in the e-learning services office. But this gets most of what you need. So I'm going to real quick just play. This is a 24-second video. Just going to play. You guys can see me talking there. So let's look at what we can do for editing on this. If you notice there at the beginning, I'm not quite ready. Maybe I get to where I'm actually talking about what it is. So this could be like when you're opening up your PowerPoint, right? And you're getting the presentation mode up. Maybe that's not all there. So once you get to where you want to actually start your video, notice if I grab this cursor, I can move this. Once I get it to where I want it, these little things, I don't know what to call them, the little green and red guys that live on the cursor, they pull. So if I want to pull this, then it gives me the option to cut that space. Okay. And it's just that simple for editing. So let's say right here in the middle at, let's say at 09:13, when I was listening to it play back, I realized that my dog barked in the background right then. So then what I do is I play until I get to where the dog's not barking. And then I can just drag this back to that spot at 09:18, cut, and that's out of there. Pretty easy editing. Again, this doesn't have the ability to be, adding annotations or highlights or anything on top of the video. It's pretty basic video editing. Let's try real quick doing a sample of if we were pulling up a PowerPoint, that's a lot of what you guys use when you're doing your screen recordings, and how we would go about getting that here and then sharing it out to YouTube. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and open up a PowerPoint. I have a little one I made here for a sample for today. It's a real short one. Okay. Just got our 3 slides. This is our sample. If you guys remember last week, the sample I was doing was showing how to get to Canvas, right? So this is just my little PowerPoint on that. So if I was getting ready to record this video, maybe as a how-to to send my students for the first week of class, I would make sure I have my PowerPoint pulled up. I don't have to have it in presentation mode yet, especially since I'm just on one screen. I can't. And then what I would do is come pull up my Snagit toolbar. I would make sure I'm going to have my talking head, as I call it. So I have my webcam turned on. I'm gonna set it to be in the bottom left. And that's because on my slides, I know that bottom left, I'm not gonna be covering up any valuable information. That's another thing I always had against the talking heads and PowerPoints was I always felt like it covered up information. So it's kind of good to know as you're designing your slides to like think in your head where that might fit. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and say capture, and I'm gonna select that full screen for this one. And that's because I'm gonna be putting that PowerPoint into presentation mode. So it will be full screen. Now, if you notice, it does give me a preview here of my talking head. I can also from here resize it, which is really nice. So I could make myself, I don't know if it goes any bigger than that. That's about as big as it goes, which is plenty large for a video, or you can make yourself really tiny. Now, I did select in that toolbar the bottom left for it, but if you notice, I can actually move it to any of the corners. And I have that ability while I'm recording too. So like if on one slide I realize that my head's covering up valuable information, I could go ahead and move it. We're gonna leave him down there in the bottom left for now. And I'm gonna go ahead and click on record. And don't worry, I've had faculty tell me that this countdown makes them very nervous. Like, oh my gosh, I gotta be ready. And don't feel like you do, because what you can, once it goes into the editor, you just go edit out the beginning. So don't let that intimidate you. So then what I would do is open up my presentation into slideshow mode, presentation mode. Okay, and then you guys would get to see that. And then this is where I would start my actual presentation of what I want to record. Now I will put a little plug in here. I do highly recommend having a script for when you're recording a lecture. I did not type one up for this today, but it's a pretty short one. So I'm not gonna worry about it too much. So real quick, I'm gonna go through the slides as if I was recording, okay? So I'm gonna say, here's our presentation on how to access Canvas. First, you'll go to the LC State homepage, find the current student, go to For You, find the current student tabs, click on Canvas, and that will take you to the Canvas sign-in page where you can use your username and password to get signed in. I'm gonna pause there at the end when I'm done talking, give it just a second. And then I'm just gonna hit the escape key on my keyboard to get out of my presentation mode. And if you have another monitor, you could have your Snagit toolbar up there. Since mine, I'm just on my laptop, I've actually got to right click on my little Snagit thing and tell it to stop recording. I could have also come up here at the top and told it to stop recording here. Like I say, if you have multiple monitors, it's actually a little easier because you can have your toolbar up on the other monitor. So that jumped us right in here into the Snagit editor. I'm going to go ahead and just hit play, and we're going to let it play until we get to where I actually start recording. So don't let that intimidate you. So then what I would do is open up my presentation into slideshow mode, presentation mode. Okay, and then you guys will get to see that. And then this is where I would start my actual presentation of what I want to do. Now I will put a little plug in here. You guys gonna listen to me talk. I did not type one up for this today, but it's a pretty short one, so not gonna worry about it. So real quick, I'm gonna go through the slides as if I was recording. Okay. So all right. There, that's where I'm going to start, right? So I just listened to it. So now I'm going to grab the little green thing, pull it back, and say cut. Pretty easy editing, right? So then we kind of play. I don't think I had any errors in the middle. I did kind of fumble over a word there. We're not going to worry about that today. And then when I get to the end, I start. Oh, see there, I was a little too far. So let's go back a little. And I'm just clicking on this and dragging with my mouse is all I'm doing. Okay, so that was my end, right? So then I'm gonna just grab this, drag it here, cut. That was pretty easy editing, right? I will give a couple little tips if you are editing stuff in the middle as you're recording. If you fumble or something happens, it never fails, the phone rings or the dog barks or the kids come in or something during your recording. Don't let it don't let it get to you or feel that you need to start over. When you get that noise taken care of, it goes away, just come back, pause for just a second. And the reason I say that is when you pause and there's a little quiet time, it gives you more room to be able to edit so that you're not having to be like exactly on the second. So just come back, take a deep breath and start again. Okay. And then when you come into the video to edit it, then what I like to do is, let's say here at 8:13, I found that's where that noise started and I need to start my cutting. And how I see those numbers is if I just click on the cursor, notice it pops up that I'm at 8:12. Okay. So what I would do is, okay, I might even have a sticky note in front of me and I'd write 8:12 down on it. And then I'd listen until I get to the spot where I'm ready to start. And so then I know that if I drag this back to that 8:13 and hit cut, I've got it in there. Okay, that's just a quick little way to do those ones in the middle. Always give yourself a pause whenever you mess up. It makes your editing so much easier. So just a quick tip on that. Okay, so once you have this edited, that's always a funny word to say to me, edited, what do you do with it then? So we do recommend sharing videos out to YouTube and using the closed captioning features in YouTube. Now, the reason we do that is for accessibility. Closed captions are actually used by a lot of students for various different reasons. And right now we do recommend YouTube for that. Your LC Mail account is a Gmail account. Google owns YouTube, so you're able to use that as your sign in for it. Snagit's pretty great. It can share directly to it. So I have a share icon up here in the upper right. If I go hit share, tell it to share to YouTube, it's going to prepare my video. Go. It's going to have me sign into my YouTube. I'm going to tell it that yes, it can have access. And then it should pop up a window where you can title it before it goes to YouTube. I'm going to just call this a sample one. YouTube has 3 different settings for privacy. They have public, unlisted, and private. I always recommend unlisted. And the reason for that is if it's private, you have to give individual users access to view it. So that means you would have to give your student, let's say this was for your students, you would have to give each of their Google accounts permission to view that video. And then they would have to be signed in with their LC Mail account into their YouTube to be able to view it. That could get a little tedious. Public would mean that anybody going out onto YouTube could search and find that video. Unlisted means that anyone with the link can view it. So then I could share that link with my class, and then they have the link and they're able to view the video. Now, I will say with that, those students could save that link and share it with other people. So it's not totally private, but I think it's a very good way to keep class videos within your class. So then all you have to do is click upload and it's magically going to go to YouTube. So we'll jump in and look at YouTube here in just a second, but I want to show you a few other video features here within Snagit before we go look at kind of the second step of all of getting a video ready for a class. So if I wanted to just record a welcome video at the beginning of the semester, like, hi, I'm Carrie, I'll be teaching your SD 107 class, whatever, you can actually do with that webcam, you can have it be full screen. So I went ahead and came to my webcam area here, and then I did the full screen there. I'm going to hit capture. I'm just going to select that full screen and it's going to full screen and it's just me. Hey, everybody. So then this is where I could record. I'm going to go ahead and click the record and it's going to count down for me. 3, 2, 1. And this is where you can say, hey, I'm Carrie. I'm teaching your SD 107 class for this semester. I have the TV cams up there, so I keep looking up there. I realize that you guys are probably like, what is she looking at? But the TV screens and the CTL are up there. So this is where you can have just your webcam, use it to talk to your students, record a welcome video at the beginning. So at the end, I'm going to go ahead and click up here on my little Snagit guy. You can see he's red right now because he's recording, and I'm going to say stop recording. And that will jump right into the editor. And again, I can edited it, just like we did that last one. Okay. Notice at the end, it catches me stopping the recording, right? So that would be, you know, maybe it's right there where I want to cut it. Just drag the and hit cut. Okay. Now, if we were wanting to do, I'm going to pull up that PowerPoint just as so that you have an example again. So I'm going to do the recording, and this time on the webcam, I'm going to tell it to be bottom left. And we're going to say capture. Again, I'm going to hit that full screen because we're going to be going to presentation mode. I'm going to hit the record. It should give me my countdown. 3, 2, 1. And then once I have my presentation up. So if during the presentation, I realize that this was covering something, I can actually drag it. Or if, say I'm talking about this slide and I've gotten, you know, to where, oh, I guess it doesn't let you put it in the middle. I was going to say you could drop it into the middle, but it actually does snap it to the corners for you. So you do want to get this sized to the size you want it before you go in, because once you're recording, you can't resize it, but you can resize it prior to starting recording. So I'm going to go ahead and escape out of my PowerPoint. I'm going to stop my recording. And there again, it brings it into the editor where I could cut and edit as I need it. So another thing you can make with Snagit and doing videos is just little GIF images. So let's show how I would do something like that. I'm going to go back to our LCSE homepage. Okay. So let's say I just wanted a quick little GIF video to show students to click on this for you, to click on current student, and to click on Canvas. Okay. I don't need like a full-on recording video to YouTube. I just need a little visual that goes with this. So I'm going to use Snagit because it's awesome. I'm going to click on here. We're going to be on our video. I'm not going to record my webcam. And I'm actually not going to record my microphone either because they don't need to hear me talking. It's just a video, right? I definitely want my cursor on. And I'm going to go ahead and hit capture. And I want to I don't need the full screen, right? They don't need to see all my toolbars and that I have Google open as well. I'm just going to let it select here. And I'm going to go ahead and click record. Now, again, it's going to count down. Don't be scared that it's counting down. And it's not where I wanted it to start. So I'm going to click out of that. So this is the screen where I wanted to start. So now I'm going to real quick go through those steps that I was talking about. Click on the For You, click on current student, click on Canvas. Okay, that's all I wanted to show them. So I'm going to go ahead and hit stop. Now, again, here, we know that at the beginning, I wasn't quite where I wanted to be. So I'm going to watch until it gets to where I do want to be. So right about there is where I'd actually want it to start. So I'm going to cut that out. Again, I'm just dragging that cursor and saying cut. And then I'm gonna let it play through, make sure, well, and actually, I don't start going until about there. So I'm gonna cut a little bit more out. Okay. So now there it clicks that for you. There it goes to current students. There it shows my cursor going to Canvas. And then the Canvas screen opens. That's all I need to show them. So I'm gonna cut that last part out. I've got a nice little 10-second little video there. Now, right below that, do you see this where it says create animated GIF file from the entire video or from timeline selection? And right here, I could also take a capture. So if I wanted to grab an image capture of that, I could do. We're gonna go ahead and click that little GIF. And then it's going to ask me if I want to optimize it for high motion video or custom. I'm okay with it just being a screen video. And I like the fade to black option so that at the end it fades away. It doesn't look like it's continually looping. And I'm just going to say create. And it's going to do its little magic. And then it's going to play it for me. Let's see how it looks. Oh, looks pretty good there. And then it fades away. Okay. So I'm going to hit pause on that. Now I could save this. So I'm going to tell it to save as. And I'm going to call this GIF for CTO. Give it a better descriptive name if this is yours. I'm just going to save it to my desktop for now. Okay, and then I can also do where you can just share these. So I could say share and tell it to go to a Word document for me. So if I have Word open here, and since I shared it to Word, now that GIF is just part of this Word file. So if this was a document I was making, pause, I don't need it to keep running for me. But if this was a document I was making to send my students, I could be like, instructions for getting to Canvas. And then this little video, just play there for them. If you remember I don't know if you guys noticed on my PowerPoint, that's the GIF as well, right there. So they're a nice little quick video way to communicate something to your students. So if you're trying to show them, on the New York Times page, how to search for an article real quick, because it never fails that you tell students, like, go to the page and on the left, there's a search bar, type in Saturday Times or whatever. They're like, where is it? What color is it? But if you can make them just a quick little visual to help communicate that, it could really be helpful. It kind of depends what you're trying. Yeah, it depends what you're trying to convey, I guess, in a way. In this instance, yeah, I think so for that example. Especially if you don't need like the infographics, especially the ones where if there's very specific things you need to do at each step. I think the infographics a little better because then you have the visual in the one and then you can give explanation of the one, right? But something like this where you like the for you go here, and it's 10 seconds, it doesn't take very long to make it. So that's an option for videos as well. And I think you guys noticed here, let me pull up my Snagit editor. You do have the option as you're going through a video. If you do need a screen capture of something you got in your video, you can click this little PNG down here by the GIF, and that will make a screen capture of your video capture. So those are kind of the features here within Snagit for grabbing a video, creating a video. I could take questions on any of that, and I'm going to jump into YouTube and show you kind of what happened after we shared that to YouTube. Any Snagit questions so far on creation? Are we good? I always take silence as we're good. Okay. So if you remember on that one video, I think it was this one, maybe one of these guys. Oh, I think it was this one. we shared that up to YouTube. So now we're going to go to YouTube and we're going to take a look at what happened once it got there. I'm going to warn you, I'm going to just go to YouTube and I have no control over what videos it suggests. So I always give that as like a little disclaimer at the beginning because you never know what's going to come up there. See, told you, see, who would, I have no control over this stuff. Okay, so once you sign into YouTube, up here in the upper right, you'll see I'm already signed in with my account. If you haven't done that, remember that your LC mail account is already a Google account. So that means that you can sign into YouTube with it. There is a trick. You do have to verify your account to be able to upload a video that's longer than 15 minutes. So remember that step if you're wanting to do longer videos. So since I'm already signed in, I'm going to actually come over here on the left and you see where mine says your videos. And once you click on that, it should open up my videos. And right there's the one that I recorded. So this is the same video, but it was me recording it in my office where it was probably a little more clear. And I wasn't also recording on Zoom at the same time. So for all intents and purposes, I'm going to actually use this video for the sample just to show some more stuff with the captioning and such. So if you notice, all of my videos, though, are that unlisted. And I can't stress that enough. Unless it's something that you really want to be able to be publicly searched on YouTube, don't put public. You're also up to a little bit more scrutiny and views and comments and such if you do that. And like I said, private is okay. Just know that you're going to have to give permission specifically to your students. The biggest thing I've come into problems with that is then students like watch it at home on a different computer and they're signed in with their personal Google account and not their school's Google account. And then they can't see the video because they're, yeah. So I recommend just doing the unlisted. Okay. So on these videos, I'm going to go ahead and just click on one so you can see what happens when I open it. So once I click in here, I can actually give it a better name. Let's say when I uploaded it, I didn't really know what I was going to be using it for. So now I'm going to call it how to Canvas. You could give it a description here. YouTube it just picks a thumbnail from the video. Normally it does pretty good, but I have had ones where especially it's me on the screen and like they catch me when I'm like have my mouth wide open or something. I don't know why it does that to you. So you can pick a different thumbnail for it or upload your own thumbnail. This video, obviously this was only like a 20-second thing, so that doesn't give me very many choices for thumbnails, but we'll go ahead and just select that one. I recommend putting these always that say, no, it's not made for kids. And the reason for that is if you say that it is, you're required to comply with some privacy protection stuff. Since we're working at a higher ed institution, I just always say, no, it's not made for kids. Again, over here on the right, you can change that visibility, unlisted, public, all of that. You can give things an end screen. So like, say you're promoting your other channel or you want people to subscribe, you can click that and then add those end channels. And I actually haven't ever done stuff with cards. I think it's kind of the same thing. Yeah, it just is one of those where you put it in and it'll allow things to be where you can subscribe. If you were somebody like a true YouTuber running a channel, that's what you would use there. The thing that you do want from this page is that video link right here. That's what you would be copying to put into Canvas. So that's kind of the important thing here on this page. Now, over here on the left, there's a spot that says subtitles. Subtitles are also, oh, I guess I didn't save my changes on this page. I don't think I really want to, so I'm going to hit cancel. Actually, I'm going to hit OK. So if I clicked on the subtitles on the left, I don't know why YouTube asks me every time what my language is, because I only speak one language and I've only ever selected one language, but for whatever reason, it asks me every time. Don't know why. So it'll ask you your subtitle. I'm going to say English. I even always check this, makes this default for my channel, and it still asks me.
I don't have to put that
See, Angela says she doesn't either. I think it's just me. So, all right. So I picked my English, right? So once I do that, this brings up where you can add in your transcript, subtitles, closed captions, whatever you want, what wording you want to use to call them. Now this video hasn't been, I just uploaded this right before class, so I don't think it's actually, oh, maybe it has made my automatic subtitles by now. YouTube will auto caption videos. It can take it takes a minimum of the time is the double length of the video. So it has to at least be able to play the video twice to be able to do its automatic captions. So this is only a 26-second video. So in about a minute, it should be able to make the auto captions. But YouTube does say it can take up to 48 hours. So since this is a free service, you are at the discretion of YouTube. So what I'm going to do here is we're just going to, it appears to me that these are published, the subtitles are. I'm going to go ahead and unpublish them because we're going to be looking at them. And then once they're unpublished, I can click here and say edit. Oh, that actually didn't take me to my subtitle editing. Hang on. Right there's the edit that I want. Sorry, guys, I was clicking on the wrong spot. After I unpublish them, the edit is right there. We're going to hit that. And then this opens up the auto captions that it put in here for me. Now, this is a very short video, 26 seconds. So coming in here and adding capitalizations and punctuation is pretty quick, right? And you do have to have capitalized and punctuated to meet ADA requirements. Now, let's say this was a longer video, not even a long video, let's say a 2-minute video. It could take a lot longer to come in here and edit. There's a couple things I hesitate especially on a longer video, editing right here within YouTube. So let's say I'm working on this, I'm coming in, I'm just clicking, adding in my punctuations and everything. So you know how like Word auto saves for you or Google Docs does? This doesn't. So let's say you were working on like a 7-minute video and you'd done like all the edits and then like your internet crashed. You'd be pretty sad and upset. So if you're editing a long video, or even, I don't even know what to use the word for long, more than a few panes, I guess, of captioning, I always like to click this edit as text. And then I copy this and I put it into a Word doc. Okay. I'm just using that Word doc and then I edit it here. And like I say, the reason for that, I'm going to delete our GIF out of there. The reason I do that is just because I think it's an easier platform to edit in. Also, you can use some of the tools and tricks of Word. So one example is when YouTube auto captions, it always puts in lowercase I, right? I don't know why it does that. Nobody in the English language ever says I and it's lowercase. So one quick thing you can always do is then use your tool or use your find and replace. And so then, and I don't think I have this as an example in this one because I didn't use here. We'll type one in there. Oops, see, and it doesn't. We're going to pretend that it said I there. So then use your find and replace and put in a lowercase I and a space, and it'll find them all for you, and then tell it to put in a capital I space and do a replace all, and it'll fix every single one of those in your text. I've known some of our nursing faculty who have recorded videos, they'll have a weird drug name that when they say it, YouTube thinks it's a cherry pie and it's Cherilify or something, and so then they can come in here and do that same thing. So, or like canvas should actually be capitalized. So I could come in here and type in canvas and then do a replace all. So I'm helping my transcription, making it a quicker process. Also, if I'm transcribing something that I recorded that was me, so like in our office, Angela and I make a lot of videos. Sometimes she'll do a recording and then I'll do the transcription for her, or vice versa. When I'm doing it for myself, I actually sometimes don't even have to listen to the video to know where my punctuation should go, because I'm used to my own cadence and how I talk. And so I wouldn't even have to listen to the video, and I'd be able to come in here and be able to put in the periods and commas and such, just because I know my own cadence and how I talk. So once you got this all edited, then you can just copy it, right? And then come back in here and paste. And then say publish. And it'll set your timings for you and put that all in. Obviously that example I hadn't set, done all the punctuation and stuff, but I think you guys get that before. There are other ways that you can do your subtitles and closed captions as well. So let's take a look. I'm going to actually go back to one of my other videos. We'll take a look. Oh, hang on, let's get rid of that one. I've got too many YouTubes open here. So let's go to Studio. Let's go to. So I'm going to select a video, a previously recorded one, just so that you guys can see an example here. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and hit add. Oh, no, that's adding a different language. I'm going to hit edit on this one, sorry. And this one, again, has the auto transcription in here. If you come in and you're listening to this and you realize that, hey, you know, it missed me saying something, you can hit the plus caption and add your own box. Again, you can edit as text and put that in there. It also has this feature where you can have it pause while talking, or while typing. So if you're listening to yourself on this video, so then if I was trying to add stuff in there, oops, if I check that. So as I'm typing, it pauses. And then I just hit shift space bar and it starts again. So it's a quick way that you're able to listen and type in your own captions if you need to. Let's see here. I don't want to actually save that. That was just an example. Discard changes. So those are kind of the, and if you had your this is the other reason I say write a script. If you wrote a script for your lecture and you went off your script when you did your recording, you literally just come in and paste that in here and it just hit the go and YouTube lines it up and it's like magic. So that's kind of my ideas on the captioning in there. The one last piece I'll show you real quick before we go is how you can easily put these into Canvas. So I'm going to use this syllabus video I have as an example, and I'm going to hit this share icon and I'm just going to hit that copy, the URL. I'm going to go ahead and get into Canvas. Get signed in. Go to one of my classes. Let's see if this even has stuff in it. Oh, it does, good. Now let's say as part of, this is part of my content that I want on this page here. Oh, this one actually has videos in it too. I'm going to hit edit on this page. And I'm going to say, I want that video to be the very first thing my students see. So I just pasted that URL, right? Didn't do anything else. I'm going to go ahead and hit save. And then YouTube automatically makes it playable right here within the class. If you want to get really fancy, you can use the embed tool. So if you notice when I hit that share, oh, of course, YouTube wants to play an ad for us. It's YouTube, it has to. Skip ads. Oh, now we're on, see, this is what I say when you do YouTube Live, I demo it, like we end up with like Rodney Dangerfield on, yeah. Let's go back to my video. So I'm going to hit that share and I'm going to hit the embed code and copy that embed code. So I just clicking on it. I can either hit the copy or use my keyboard shortcuts. Then when I'm back in Canvas, I can hit edit here. And if you click this, see this little, I don't know what you want. It's the HTML editor symbol down at the bottom. If I click that, and then if I paste in that embed code and hit save, then it's going to actually embed it in there as well. So you have those two options. And I don't think either one's right or wrong. It just depends visually how you like it to look. Because the little thumbnails, when they play it, it comes up as a size, and they can still make it, they can turn on the closed captions, they can make it full screen as they wish. It's just two different ways of doing the same thing. All right, do you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, worries, frustrations?
Can I ask a question
Of
just
course.
about captioning in
Sure.
general?
Yeah.
Is it good to, like, I usually take out all the ums and uhs and things like that, which I think I've read as good practice, but I think it used to not be good practice.
I take them out, and I
Okay.
do the same thing when I grab like the auto captions from YouTube and the find replace. I have it find them all and take
Yeah.
them out.
Okay.
Especially if it's a lot. Because if you're listening to that or reading that,
It
no.
doesn't give any meaning.
it doesn't give any meaning.
Yeah,
yeah.
okay.
So I say now. Probably haven't said it that much during the whole thing, but that definitely brought it out. Yeah, I think that's completely. The biggest thing is you need it to be punctuated and time synced. Also, if you guys do have your script, I recommend letting your students have that as a transcript as well. You already typed it up. You already put it on the video. Give it to them as a transcript in Canvas, because some students might learn better that way, or some students might like to have that and take notes on it. It's there. You've already made it, so you might as well share it with your class. Any other questions? We have ones. Teresa says, embed permits you can constrain the video size. Yes, it does allow you to constrain the video size. When you embed, you can say how the pixels and the size that it'll be in there. It's very true. If you guys ever have questions about Snagit, maybe you're not ready to make your videos yet, you aren't until, a few months from now, and you forget everything that I just said, feel free to give me or Angela or I a call, Angela or me a call, and we're more than happy to answer your questions and work on that.
And we are recording this.
We are recording
so
this
you can also
session.
Come back to it.
Yes.
Which I will probably need to do.
Yeah. Yep. And we know you guys, you guys don't do this every day. So once you get to the point where you are ready to do it, just let us know and we're more than happy to help. With that, if there's no other questions, I think we're going to go ahead and sign off.
Thank you so much.
It was
Carrie.
great having everybody today. Thank you.